Hello, my name is Connie. I am a second-year PhD student in the Technology and Social Behavior program at Northwestern University, and welcome to the video presentation for On Hackathons, a multidisciplinary literature review by Connie W. Chau and Elizabeth M. Gerber. Hackathons are widely known as intensive 24-hour events where people form teams to work together on a technical project, often for awards and prizes. We see hackathons everywhere, in universities, industry, community organizations, healthcare, and government. Hackathons are also often highly interdisciplinary, bringing together diverse people, knowledge, and skills to tackle often complex problems. A major implication of all our collective research efforts is understanding how to make hackathons better, which can mean different things to different people in different contexts. The purpose of a literature review is to synthesize and provide an overview of existing research to highlight these patterns and tensions and set a course for future research directions. Even more important is that phenomena as interdisciplinary as hackathons prompt us to reevaluate what we as HCI researchers know about hackathons and to enrich our current conceptualization of hackathons with the perspectives and traditions of other disciplines. While there have been a handful of literature reviews in the past, nearly all have been limited to computer science. Hackathons themselves have grown well beyond their use, however, in computer science, but our understanding of hackathons and research on hackathons has yet to be informed by other disciplines. Especially given the enormous growth of hackathons in these other disciplines, it's more important than ever that we undertake a multidisciplinary review of hackathon literature. With these in mind, we guide our study with these three research questions. First, what areas in hackathons, if any, are researchers across disciplines prioritizing? 2, how has research on hackathons changed over time? And 3, what can HCI researchers learn from other disciplines about hackathons? This literature review follows a multidisciplinary meta-narrative review approach from Greenhall et al. We search for the term hackathon in titles, keywords, and abstracts of articles from January 1st, 1999, which corresponds to the year the term hackathon was first coined, to June 30th, 2022. We started in the ACM Digital Library and IEEE Explore Digital Library, and then moved onto other databases like JSTOR, EBSCO, Web of Science, and PubMed Central. We also looked at the references of these returned articles for any relevant papers as well. Through a set of exclusion criteria, we went from 908 to 111 relevant publications from 2013 to 2022 that were then thematically analyzed using an Excel spreadsheet and Miro. For our findings, we categorized our sample into 10 disciplines, as well as described some metadata on hackathons, including data collection, data analysis methods, for data sample types and contribution types based on Warburg and Keene's 7 contribution types in HCI. More details on these and the exclusion criteria for the study in the full paper. Related to the metadata and responding to RQ2 on the growth of hackathon literature or research over time, we see how computer science publishes the first research article on hackathons and continues to publish the most about them. Science and Technology Studies, or STS, appropriately soon joins the discourse, but we see a great growth in the number of disciplines that publish research on hackathons from 2015 onward, like education and learning, innovation, entrepreneurship, organizational studies, and gender studies. In response to RQ1, we find 4 core areas of hackathon research. The first gets at why organize or participate in hackathons, which we define as purpose. Learning, innovation, and collaboration are 3 purposes of hackathons, but the 4th, critiques, gets at an important ongoing discourse that questions the very purpose of hackathons, if they're truly the technological democratic space for making and vehicles for change, or reiterations of illusory participation that allow people to perhaps feel like they're making a difference. Another reason why we do hackathons is for the desired outcomes, which include participant outcomes like learning or applying skills, networking, topic awareness, and entrepreneurship, as well as project outcomes, of which has seen a significantly smaller but much more recent portion of outcome literature, lending itself to a possible topic for future research. For what makes a hackathon, formats involve the logistical aspects like people, time, and place, but also things like programming, which involve aspects like the hackathon theme, or whether it's competitive, and scheduling aspects like networking events, workshops, and information sessions. Another is project materials, which is especially important for non-CS focused hackathons that can have both or either technical and non-technical materials like textiles, paper, music, and even choreography, making this an aspect and a particularly interesting area for future research on the evolution of hackathons that pushes the question of what makes something a hackathon even beyond its current boundaries. And finally, the fourth core aspect of hackathon research is how do hackathons work? That is to say, processes, which we generally categorize as pre, during, and post-hackathon activities. Though much of the literature tends to focus on participants and how they prepare, work, or carry on after the hackathon event, there are opportunities for more research on how organizers and even people like staff, mentors, and volunteers work and participate and collaborate in hackathons. Again, looking at how hackathon research has evolved, we have a graph of the four core areas of hackathon literature over time and see that purpose really drives hackathon research, as researchers first ask and evaluate what the purpose of hackathon even is and why organizers and participants do hackathons. This corresponds well with previous STS and education and learning studies growing in the early years of hackathon research, but we also see how it isn't outcomes that become the next focus, but formats as people begin to wonder how to change the hackathon format to better suit the intended purpose. Following this, it's important for researchers to think about how hackathons currently work, how the format impacts the way people can brainstorm projects, collaborate, and experience the hackathon, which also leads to new format modifications. And from 2017 onward, we see more literature evaluating then the outcomes of traditional and these modified hackathons. Synthesizing how hackathon research has grown over time in these four core areas of research, we developed a unified way to guide future deliberate modifications of hackathons, which illustrates the relationship between these four areas. It begins with how the purpose informs the format, which structures and restructures processes based on changes to the format that generate outcomes that can then redefine or successfully fulfill the purpose. This framework not only guides purposeful modification of hackathons that align with existing paradigms in HCI research, such as program theory proposed by Falk et al., but it is enriched by these other disciplines interested in hackathon research. It can help us better justify modifications, and act as a shared framework for HCI researchers to collaborate with other researchers from other disciplines on both modifying hackathons to better suit their context and furthering interdisciplinary research work on hackathons. And finally, it allows the hackathon research community to reflect on the priorities embedded in our research and acknowledge what challenges may be old, new, less studied, recurring, and even anticipated. Future directions of hackathon research can use our framework and our literature review more broadly to reevaluate and enrich our approaches to the longstanding challenge of diversifying participation in hackathons, or to address diverse participation in non-CS hackathons, tackle new frontiers on improving virtual hackathon experiences for all stakeholders involved, and consider community-based and participant-centered approaches to longitudinal research work that can thoroughly iterate through the four core area steps of our framework and develop a robust knowledge of modifications in specific contexts. All in all, we completed a multidisciplinary literature review to encourage our communities to reflect on why we do hackathons, to change what they entail and how they work, ultimately to design or redesign more enjoyable hackathon experiences for all. Thank you.